A rainy remote from Whitestone, and we're dealing with walk-ins. We don't know what's going to happen. We have a lot of guests scheduled. Your host, Ray Guarino, Joe D. We got the whole crew here. We got our social guys. We got our PD. We have some guests in the wings that aren't quite ready yet, but we're going to be talking about all sorts of things automotive and your calls, of course, at 516-572-7440. You can get us that way. We're working through the phone line issues, and we'll make it happen, because this is a little out of our normal wheelhouse. Although we are among cars, we're right in our wheelhouse, so to speak. But it's okay. We're going to see if we can wrangle Mr. Marty Schorr, who is standing kind of right behind us in our enclave, and here he comes. So let us see. We'll make sit right over there, Marty. We're going to get him a spot in out of the rain. Make sure you can hear. You got it?
No,
you can't. Let's see what mic. All the levels are up.
You.
Yeah.
Just talk.
Yeah. Okay. Just say something, Marty. We'll find you. Okay, that was good, huh? Arrested Development. Lower is, how's that? I don't know which one he's on. That's 4-3.
He's good.
How's that?
Nothing. Just talk.
Now you got nothing.
Just talk.
Say something. Okay, say something. We'll work it out as you do. We'll on the fly.
Hello. Is that working?
I hear you just fine. Yes, and I'm
How
sure.
come I can't hear you?
Really? I don't know. That is interesting. We'll work that out. You know, when you do remotes and you do things like this, there's always little details to be worked out, little bugs. But
Can you make it a little lower?
There's on the fly engineering. We can do this. How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay, now it's perfect. We went from totally fakakta to perfect. Here comes Joe D.
Fakakta.
And words I think Marty's used in his magazines many times. So, Marty Schorr, it's a pleasure to have you here. We've had you on the radio show in the past, of course, talking about all the books that you wrote and the great history. You know, you've covered all the great history with motion performance and whatnot.
Right.
And now you're still authoring books. You also are the chief cheech in charge of Car Guy Chronicles,
right,
down in Sarasota, right? How's
I'm too old to retire.
That's good. You know what? Keep going.
Is that how that works? There's a zone for this?
Right. So we can cover the books. We've done that in the past. What's up currently with Marty Schorr? What are you doing these days? What takes
am I
up
doing?
your time?
As little as possible. I'm trying as little as possible. I mean, when I heard it was going to be raining up here, I flew up from sunshine because I don't get a lot of rain. So
An intrepid soul, no doubt.
Right.
And what's really bothering me, I'm sitting here looking at mid-series Corvettes out here, and the Marlboro Maroon one that you don't see right here to the left, big block car.
Yeah.
That was my car.
Was it?
Black interior, black top, black stripe, 427, side exhaust, rally wheels.
Wow.
That was my car I bought it in 1976, and I sold it in 2000.
Oh, wow. That's a good long
Before
run.
I moved
That's
to
a
Florida.
long-term relationship.
Yeah. I was really smart because I kept on figuring, what's the sense of bringing a non-air-conditioned convertible to Florida?
Right.
So I sold it.
Yeah, they have ovens, yeah.
That was a dumb move.
Well, we've all made those moves in our lives, right?
Yeah, the flat forehead moment.
Yeah.
I said, what was I thinking?
Yeah,
you know. I also thought it was too noisy.
Okay.
To bring it to an apartment house in Florida, they'd probably throw me out. But now I realize
Shut that thing off, you young whippersnapper.
I wouldn't even care. What do I care?
It was a side pipe car, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's.
But you know the funny thing about me and a Corvette, when I bought the car in '76, there wasn't a lot of talk about matching number cars.
Right.
People bought cars and drove them. They were just cars.
Right.
So I didn't know anything. I bought it from a very reputable Corvette dealer in New Jersey, and figured he wouldn't sell me a car that wasn't right because I was doing Vet Magazine and
right.
Yeah.
The last thing he wanted to do.
Wrong guy to tick off. Right. Yeah.
So I walk in and I see this car, this Marlboro Maroon car, and I said, the only problem is it has a 427. I want a small block and 4-speed. I want to drive the car. He says, here's the keys. You're not going to want a small block car.
Take it out.
So I drove the car and I bought it. I bought it on the spot, and it turned out to be a matching number car. It had rear shoulder harnesses.
Wow.
It was a side exhaust car, matching number. Everything was right about the car.
Right.
Never realized it. And so I I drove the car for a lot of years and then sold it in 2000. I sold it. The story of selling that car, probably nobody else can match my story.
Okay.
I guarantee you.
Give it a shot.
I sold it to a blind guy.
Cool.
Really? Okay.
I'm looking for a black car. Yeah, it's black.
He owned a little business on Route 17 called Collector's Corner. And he sold Corvette accessories, and his biggest product was these little boxes that you put issues of magazines in for a year.
Right. Okay.
Like that,
yeah.
right?
Like them
and
sleeves.
he saw that. I never went there, but I saw his ads all over the place. I knew his name. When I decided to sell my car, he found out, and he called me up and said, I'm interested in buying it. Can I come over to your house? I lived in Harrington Park, New Jersey.
So wanted to come feel it?
No, he didn't say. I didn't know he was blind.
Oh, okay.
He comes to the house. He said, I'm coming with my banker. I said, okay. It sounded like a skit, you know.
Yeah.
Car pulls up, new Audi at the time. Out gets the driver and the other guy. And the other guy is holding his hand. He walks over to the car and introduces him. And I'm saying, how come you're holding his hand? He says, well, I'm blind. And I said, you want to buy this Corvette and you're blind? He says, yeah, if you can just take me for a ride down the block and back, I'll let you know if I want to buy it.
Wow.
I said, okay. I put him into the passenger seat. Took it down my block. I got on it, hit it a couple of times. The damn thing was so loud, you know. I mean, even if he was deaf, he knew what he was in. And he said, fine, let me go home, and my banker will call you tomorrow. This is a weekend. Guy calls up and says, he wants the car. He's paying your price. I'm sending out a check from my bank.
Nice.
And he gave me an address. He says, could you deliver the car to his home in Saddle River? Very upscale.
Okay.
Much more upscale community than I lived in. And so I polished the car, clean it up. Hard top is on. My wife and I go out. We go to Saddle River and we find the house. And the house is probably 3 times the size of my house. And in the side driveway, when I pulled in, the doors were open.
Yeah.
And there were 4 bays. And in those 4 bays were 3 427 tri-power 67s. A Goodwood green one, a bright red one, and a white one sitting there. And I said to my wife, the guy's blind. Well, he was legally blind. He can't drive.
Oh.
But he can see things. And he lives, of course, in a dark house. Lights. It was a black house when I walked in.
Wow.
Walked in, he gave me the check. I gave him the keys, and he said, before you go, you want to see my cars? So I said, yeah. I saw the 67s. He says, no, the other ones. So we go downstairs, and he has a garage facing out in the backyard, under the house. And he had 5 solid axle cars.
Oh, boy.
All restored cars.
Oh, my God.
Fuelies and whatever. And when I delivered the car, the sun was setting, and I said to my wife, I think we made a mistake. Look how beautiful his car looks.
Yeah.
The sun was coming down, that Marlboro moon just jumped
Gorgeous
out.
color, yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, we did it. Well, about 3 years later, or 4 years later, he sold the car to Terry McCallis, the McCallis operation out in the Midwest.
Okay.
And they sold it to a doctor, I think his name was Tracy, in Detroit, who contacted me and said he's putting the car in for a Bloomington restoration, and he got a gold. And he sent me the pictures. And of course, in pictures, the car looked exactly like the car I sold.
Sure.
But it wasn't, you know. But I haven't come across too many people who sold their car to a blind guy.
No,
that is unique. Yeah, that's definitely
And he
unique.
couldn't drive it. I mean, somebody had to drive him in these cars.
That
so-
kind of takes the cake.
And he lived alone. He had a cat in the house, and no lights on in the house. And it was really eerie thing, but
wow, it is.
And it's just full of
I regretted selling the car once I moved to Florida and said, this is stupid.
Well, yeah, you know, but that's what happens. We all have that car
Yeah.
That we, for some reason that we decided it's the right thing to do to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And then you smack yourself a year later, 6 months later.
I'll tell you what
whatever.
people shouldn't regret. People
that?
now have the rare opportunity to actually call us at 516-572-7440 and ask Marty a question.
Yeah.
Talk to him about his vast career with magazines and cars. Now, you were the what was your the Vet magazine? That was your creation. So you were top of the masthead.
I created it. I edited it for about 5 years.
Right.
And somebody else owned it, published it.
Okay. But you're the...
That's another one. Marty
Chevy.
I want to show you something. I did bring my books because I in the past you've been very gracious to autograph some books that I had gotten of yours. And I sent them down to you and you sent them back, but now is a great time to bring them in. But I have one that I don't know if many people would actually still have in their collection.
The GTO book, yes.
Yeah, because me being a Pontiac guy pretty much all my life. And I think I probably bought this at Motion Performance. I don't know. Because I know that's where I bought this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, another Pontiac Performance.
Well, the funny thing about these books, these books, this was a publishing company that Joel Rosen and I owned.
Okay.
So I wrote the books and had a printer do them in New York, and Joel did selling them wholesale and then selling them retail where you would have bought it in the shop. And these were just cheaply done, newsprint books. That's why they've turned yellow.
Yeah.
And
well, no, this is actually grease marks from my. We were
these
talking
are
last
grease
week
marks,
about the
right?
thumb print.
and
that's
that's
from my hands.
That's a Motion Firebird,
Yes.
with a 454 in it.
Oh, okay.
A
Chevy engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just a stock Pontiac.
Yeah, good cover
But
shot.
I have to say that I made more money doing these books than I ever made doing real magazines or writing real books.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's great.
These books sold like crazy.
I can picture it, Marty. You walk into Motion, and at the end of the aisles, Joel had the magazine racks.
Yeah.
And you could buy. I had all the. Had hot rod big block Chevys. Had hot rod small block Chevys. There was a series of how-to self-help books about. One was all about cams and valve trains. The other one's clutches.
Right.
And I have pretty much all of them because it was great. Right at the end of the aisle, you just sitting there while you're waiting for the line to subside, where the guy picks up his slicks or somebody's arguing about something or other.
Well, what's really funny about how times have changed. Values of cars have changed. Suddenly, a car that was just a car is now solid gold.
Right.
Back in these days, I'd say back in the 1960s, 1970s, nobody really cared at Chevrolet or Pontiac or Dodge what you did with factory material. They really didn't care.
Right.
Because they wanted it disseminated to enthusiasts. So they didn't really care. Nowadays, you can't take factory stuff and reprint it.
Oh,
You're going to be in court.
Right.
But the biggest selling books we did were the Chevrolet ones, which probably are no surprise.
No.
But they were the factory racing parts.
Right.
That we used on the ZL1 cars, that we used on the McLarens, that we used on the road racing Camaros. Mm-hmm. They were all the parts list. Now, Chevrolet gave that away.
Yeah.
I turned them into books and we sold them.
Funny, I had the car that got away from me is my second-gen Camaro, and when I got it, the engine was seized. I had to buy some parts, so I used one of those books to pull some part numbers out, and I went down to Lion Chevrolet, which used to be Baldwin Chevrolet.
Right.
And I saw my favorite parts guy, Frank, who was down there, and I said, listen, I need some parts. I handed him the list, and he looked at me and says, where'd you get these numbers from? I'm like, why? He goes, do you know what these numbers are? I'm like, well, yeah, I need an oil pump, a shaft, I need, a list of things. It was like L88 parts. I was like, well, yeah, because I saw stuff out of the right book.
Yeah.
And I have the receipt at home for an L88 oil pump. I think I paid $45 or $40, something like that. Something that today is unobtainium, even though you'd never see it in a car.
Yeah, they'd laugh at you. You want what?
Joe was a Chevy parts guy.
Yes, yeah.
You worked in a dealership? Or?
Bay Chevrolet over in Douglaston.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
active dealership.
He knows all too well the magic of the part number. If you have that.
Yeah, if you know the right thing, if you had to know either how to look it up or you had to get it out of a magazine, you had to have somebody that was privy to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? In other words, you guy walks in, I want an L88 cam. Yeah.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was with special high performance.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Or something like that. You couldn't use the street lingo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like a Z28 wasn't a Z28. It was special high performance.
Well, you would have done much more business than Baldwin Chevrolet would have done.
Yeah.
Baldwin was a tiny dealship. It was
It was a little hole in the wall. I think, if I remember